Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Talk with Chris Heidel. And yes, this was happening yesterday here in this area. Major thunderstorms came through and knocked out the power here in our station. We're over at a new location tonight to do the show, and we hope everybody in the Baltimore metro area is okay. So you see there's some pictures of the widespread storms that came through this area that postponed our program. So, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Talk with Chris Heidel. It's Wednesday. Normally, we're not on Wednesday, but we had a weather event last night that kind of postponed our show, and we are back here tonight to give you what we had organized ready to come on. Coming up in 4 minutes, we will have the folks from the Portland Lumberjacks joining us, the 2022 Elias Cup Champions, the three-time three-peat of the Elias Cup Champions. And then at 7:15, we have an interview with LaMonte Wade of the San Francisco Giants, who played his college ball at the University of Maryland. So when I talked to him last week, when he was in Arizona, taking on the D-backs of Arizona. And around 7:30, our good friend Dan Tortora, Wake Up Call DT, the good guy who does a great job in central New York, up there in beautiful New York, around there, and that's a beautiful area. He'll be joining us at 7:30. And then Jerry Schmitt, the head coach of Duquesne football. Duquesne is rolling into Tallahassee on week 0, taking on the Seminoles. And speaking of the Seminoles, we'll talk to Danielle Kelley. She's a weather person. She does a lot of weather. And also, she's a sports reporter in Tallahassee. We'll talk a little Seminole football as well. So get ready for week 0 of that game. So let's bring in Wes Malott, and we'll wait for the other guys to join us, shortly here. So, hey, Wes, how you doing? And congratulations on winning the title on Sunday. I do have a clip of you with the final shot. So let's talk about this real quick. Hold on, let me get it all loaded up here.
Sure.
All right. Let's find it first. Yeah, here it is.
2 years. We're trying to add so fast we can't get the numbers.
Just 6 pins, Wes Malott. He's got 9, and Portland wins the 2022 Elias Cup. Three-peat for the first time in PBA League history.
You've got to be kidding me. I have never seen any.
So, what was that feeling like throwing that final ball? Because it was an epic battle in the last game. Because it went down to you guys were down 2-0 to Norm Duke, your old, doubles partner, and you're like, okay, they had a chance to win it, and then you guys just won 3 in a row and took the title away from Norm. And Norm, I talked to Norm yesterday on the phone. He's going to be on the program in a week or so, and he's a little humble by losing, but he's happy to lost to a good friend.
Yeah, there were obviously a lot of ups and downs with emotions the last half of that game. And I don't know that we've ever seen an ending quite like that. You're like, you see an open and you're like, you finally catch a deep breath, and then your teammates open up right behind them, and then it just immediately clenches up again, and then another open and a deep breath, and just so tons of emotions going on that last game. But coming down to the 10th frame there, it kind of worked out that I only needed 6 pins to win. So my goal was to just be able to fill a frame and let Norm have the last shot. Tommy and myself talked about it prior to the match. Depending on how it worked out, we wanted to make sure that if it were possible that, we would make sure Norm went out in style and he was able to throw the last shot if everything worked out. And, obviously grateful and that, we were able to come back and win, but even more so to be able to do it in the way we were able to, so that we could allow Norm to throw the last shot of his final tournament before he kind of hangs up the shoes.
Exactly. And I was talking to him, Norm, on the phone yesterday, because I was trying to get him on tonight because I had some cancellations because we had the storm here yesterday and knocked out power.
Right.
And I was trying to see if he's available. He's doing something tonight, or he's traveling where you are, out there in Fort Wayne, Indiana, for this bowling thing you guys are doing out there. And he was like, "Oh, I'll be in Charlotte at 7:05," and I'm like, I can't get you, but it's really cool to talk. And he said to me on the phone, and he's still humble about the last shot because he said to me on the phone, he goes, "Did you see the last shot on TV?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my last shot." I'm like, "Yeah, I saw." And he goes, "That was so nice of them to do that." And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow!" And he's very humble by it. He was like, not, he doesn't care that he lost. He wants to win, but he was happy that what it came down to, that he had the final ball, got the final strike, and he's good. And he feels like he made his life, and he's okay with it.
Yeah, I actually saw, and it might be in a picture that I have, I don't know, but you see us celebrating at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked at the strikers and their facial expressions and everything, and obviously everybody's kind of in disbelief, I think, and clearly not happy. I understand those emotions, but then you look at Norm, and he has the biggest grin on his face, and I think he's just. Norm was just in a spot. I mean, he was taking it all in, and no matter win, lose, draw, whatever the case may be, I think he kind of knew it was his last straw. And this was before he threw the last shot. So, and before he had any clue about it. So just to see that, I mean, I think that tells you a lot about Norm. And, he's at a point, I mean, he's been through a lot in his career. I mean, he's been doing it for 40 years or whatever it is. And it's, I think he's in a good spot to make this decision and talking with him and whatnot. And so he has, I think, some catching up to do. And so he's in a good spot mentally with making this decision. And it's never an easy decision. I mean, I've even already kind of briefly thought about retirement. It's preparing for it and prepping for it and just planning for the future, because I mean, who knows when the last day, I mean, today or tomorrow, I mean, I might not ever be able to throw a bowling ball again. So I have to make sure that I'm prepared to be able to still support my family and take care of things. And, it's all part of preparation and moving, forward with the future and being prepared.
Exactly. Let's bring in Dave Ryan, who had his Al Michaels moment on Sunday.
What's up, Wes? How we doing, man?
Hey, Dave, thanks for joining us. Yeah, I was just talking about that final shot.
Yeah, sure. I was watching you guys. Yeah, Wes, that was so cool. You gave Normie that chance, and I tell you, I mean, I know, Wes, you've been a part of some big shows as an athlete, and I've done some amazing shows in 33 years of being on TV and radio nationally. But that is one of the all-time great, most historic, back and forth, wild finishes of any sport I've ever called. I mean, it was just amazing. Wes, Chris, I will never forget that night. That was, and so cool. You guys let Normie throw that last ball. And of course he strikes and the tears are flowing and Randy's crying and, CDB's trying to keep herself together. I've got tears. I mean, it was great television. Obviously it was great theater, but it was great for the sport. Mm-hmm. And what a way to send Normie off, Wes. That was awesome, man.
Yeah. Go ahead, Wes. Go ahead.
I don't know that. I mean, I remember when Pete threw his last shot and Walter. I remember when Carmen Selvino threw his last shot at the TSC as well. I mean, obviously there's still special moments, but they're at the end of qualifying or whatever the case may be. And for Norm to be able to do it on TV, and then not only that, he led the Masters, which was his last official, tournament. And then obviously had the heartbreaker there at the end and wasn't able to kind of come away with the title. And now to be able to afford him that shot was honestly, I told Tim Mack before we started bowling that match, I said, I'm going to tell you guys, just so you are aware, that if we happen to win this event, I'm going to tell you the first person I'm going to go to is Norm. And that's because Norm has put his life into this sport. And to me, I mean, obviously, sure, we want a three-peat, and I know that's a big moment. I know it's history. I know all that stuff. But to me, that moment was about Norm, not about us winning a three-peat, us defending our title in Portland finally. And don't get me wrong, all that stuff is still very important and still very special to me. But the moment of Norm finally calling it quits, and obviously, I was his doubles partner. I have to go find another partner now for the doubles. And So I can relate to how special that moment can be. And I can only hope and wish that maybe when my day comes, somebody is able to afford me the exact same thing. And that's the least we could do.
Yeah,
it was so cool. And Wes, the fact that this trying to keep scoring in the last few frames with the opens and what Ogle does and what Prather does, and then you're stepping up as the anchor bowler. And I mean, it was wild. I'm actually surprised you remembered at the end to have a second to say, wait, well, let's get Normie up here for the last shot, because it just went down to the last possible frame and the last possible shot. So extra kudos, man. That was that put the icing on the cake of an extraordinary show and really a great week in Portland.
Right.
It seemed like it was a great week in Portland, because I was watching the YouTube channel and during the qualifying, and it looked like a lot of people watching the YouTube channel. So that's a good thing for Tom Clark, that he got rid of flow bowling now. So maybe we could get more people to tune into bowling, because everybody likes that word free. That's the best word to hear. Free. You don't want to pay $30 a month and you go, okay, what tournament I want to watch. And I understand you got to make a profit and do all that stuff, but free is still the best thing to hear. And I think Tom should realize maybe YouTube, is a good place for bowling to watch and get more people. And now with you, Wes, basically you're now the senior member of the to me was what bowling was when I was a kid. Norm, Pete, Walter was part of the 80s and early 90s and 2000 when I grew up watching, and then you came into play. Now you're the guy who's hopefully take the torch and hand it to Jason or hand it to Kyle, who right now he can't get on tonight because he had something plans tonight. But I feel like somebody needs to take that flame and let's move on forward.
Sure. You said that pretty much about as well as you could say. I mean, definitely those were the guys. I mean, Norm, Parker, Walter, Pete. I mean, I could keep going on and on. Those were definitely the guys, that were, they were the studs, they were the legends, now it's like you said it. I mean, I'm almost 46 now, so I'm in their shoes, and it's, I kind of took it over from them, and to some extent, and it'll be my turn soon.
Yeah. So, I totally agree. I was doing some research, and I know bowling's totally different from hockey and the NBA, but you guys join a group that, three-peats you don't see a lot in sports. Like the Islanders are the last ones. Almost Tampa Bay almost did that this year with hockey, almost. The Celtics in the 60s, they won 8 in a row. And you have to go back to 98, 99, 2000 for the New York Yankees to win 3 in a row. So that's pretty cool that you guys are in a company like that. I know bowling's different than there's major sports, but hey, you could still be like, hey, I'm part of that whole, if you want to bring it up.
Sure. And I think it's got to be even harder or tougher for us to be able to do it, because we're only afforded to keep 3 guys. If we were able to, it's going to be hard to break up, myself, Kyle Troop, and Chris Prather. Obviously, as we did this year, we were fortunate enough that Mark Baker traded up or allowed us to trade picks, and we were able to get the number 3 pick, hoping and praying and thinking that the 1 and 2 picks would not take Packy, and we were able to scoop up Packy and get our lefty that we wanted, and and then we would love to keep our entire team, and we wanted to do that for a while. To be able to try and defend your title with the same 5 guys, that would be pretty awesome. And like I said, just with the way the format is and the way the draft goes, we're only allowed at 3, and we have to pick up different guys. And I think when we draft, we draft, our strategy in drafting is possibly a little different than others, and I think that's part of our success for sure.
Yeah. Well, also, I want to say thank you to Adam, who did a great job for me up there in Portland. Our buddy, he can't join us tonight, but, Adam did a great job. He enjoyed it. When I was texting him during the week, he was really happy. And, with the kid with autism like that, that's really good, really tough for kids to deal with that noise, because, it's a little hesitant sometimes, but he seems like he's used to that noise, and, he loves it, and he enjoyed it. And he was on TV more on Wednesday night than I was. Because I saw him in the crowd, and my girlfriend and I took pictures of him. Like, who's that guy? you know this person? And then he's like, "Oh, I'm a superstar." I'm like, "Okay, calm down there, buddy." But
I think Bayside is Adam's comfort zone, though.
Yeah,
There's Bayside a different animal, and it can, I think Adam feels kind of at home at Bayside a little bit.
That's true. I think
so do I. So do I, man. And I love it, you guys. I mean, that to have a chance to call a sport that I love so much, like bowling, in a college basketball atmosphere. That is, I can't tell you how many times, Wes, I mean, you guys are competing and you're focused on other things, obviously, but we took our headsets off to just get a feel for how loud it was without the headsets. We have tremendous audio technicians at Fox who mix the show into our headsets and our cans, as we call them, and it's so loud in the headsets. And then you take off your headsets and it's louder. You're like, this atmosphere is incredible. I don't know, Wes, how you guys focus and conconcentrate.
I was going to say, you're
blaring, and
you're in a plexiglass box in the back.
Yeah, we're way in the back.
I am
way down lane, man.
Exactly.
I compare that to like the Chris Paul event when you talk to all the celebrities or other, athletes who are making millions of dollars doing this stuff, and they come to bowling and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. The cameras are right next to you," and we're like, "You don't think about that." Same kind of deal. I mean, you're down the lane. And we're right next to them. I remember one shot, I'm bowling on lane 2 because lane 1 they have blocked off, and there's the fans standing on lane 1.
Right.
And I mean, starting my approach, and a lady right there is just screaming at the top of her lungs, and I'm like, "Whoa!"
I don't know how you focus, man. That's just incredible.
The thing is with bowling, it's either got to be quiet or it's got to be steady. Once it starts calming down, then you're like waiting for it. So that's the one thing about Bayside, and I know we've talked about wanting to have this exact atmosphere throughout the country, throughout the world. If anybody's watching or sees this, that's the one thing. It can be as loud as you want. It just has to be steady, and it has to be constant. And that's one thing about Bayside. Those guys, I said it in my post on Facebook, those guys, it's amazing to me that not only do they bring it for one day, they bring it for 5 consecutive days. The level of intensity and what they do there is undescribable. It's incredible. And that's it's one of the reasons why we enjoy going back, and we love Bayside Bowl.
Yeah, I feel like I should save my change and go up there with Adam next year and see the experience myself, because
absolutely, Chris, you have to.
You will not.
I think it's a mecca. It's
because I think he was walking around.
Got to be there at least once.
Yeah, we were doing our show last week, and he was walking around with his phone. He goes, "Hey, Chris Heidel's on. You want to say hello to Chris?" And I'm like, I looked at Nicole. I said, "Nicole, I'm like, I think I should run for mayor up there."
What really struck me, and Wes knows this from being part of this for so many years. In my second year up there, Wes, doing the PBA League or whichever set of shows we had at Bayside, and just seeing not just Hall of Famers like yourself, but Johnny Petraglia and Marshall Holman, of course, Normie, and of course, Pete and Walter, and Parker, and just seeing them there is an incredible experience in itself. Watching them bowl, with the exception of a couple there who are just captains, CDB, and Dell as captains, husband, wife against each other. There are so many cool Hall of Fame stories. And as someone who loves the game as a broadcaster and loves to be a part of it, to see the history along with the active stars, it was extraordinary. It was like a Major League Baseball, sort of an all-star extravaganza, Hall of Fame induction party competition, like all wrapped up into one. It was just amazing. It was cool.
It was cool. It does. It seems like it's a great thing that Tom actually came up with, because I think it actually made the PBA a lot better. Because last week, you got the 4th of July, there was really nothing on primetime TV, and I think the ratings. I want to see what the ratings were for Sunday, even going toe to toe with. I think at NASCAR going at one point, and then you had baseball going. I want to see what the ratings look like. I think it probably was a better rating than those sports, and it's been a long time for that.
Yeah, it was a very cool experience, and congrats again, Wes. I didn't get you were celebrating with other people. I tried to find you, but it was a little busy.
Yeah,
after the show, man, that was.
I was moving around.
You were moving around. We saw Timmy up. I took some pics with Timmy and Chris, and and
Sure.
Kyle, and then a couple of guys. And Timmy brought the cup up to the roof for some tacos and drinks afterwards. And you should have seen the ovation when he came up with the cup, holding it up. It was like, oh my gosh, the place went nuts all over again.
Nice.
That was an unforgettable week. And I did the ITC this year, and that was an amazing experience too to watch. Wisconsin Whitewater, it's collegiate, of course.
Yeah.
And Wichita State's got this great tradition. It's 2-0, and then Whitewater comes back and wins 3 straight. So it was kind of the same, Wes, as your deal. It looked like it was over, except in this case, it was the powerhouse. It was the favorite who had the big lead, and you'd think they'd never relinquish it. Where in this case, you guys had to storm all the way back, but you just got the feeling as it went that, I thought once you got that one game, I thought, they're going to come all the way back and win. Were you confident once you got the one game, Wes, that you could make it happen?
Man, against those guys, and I mean, really any team for the most part, but especially the strikers, I don't know that you could ever just be confident that you're going to be able to come all the way back. Yeah. Now, as Timmy said in interviews, I mean, that's one thing with us. I don't think we ever quit. And, as a team, how can you ever quit? A team in bowling, you never know. I mean, clearly, look how the show ended. You just never know. Things can change so quickly, and you have to be ready. And I was so focused, and I told Timmy, I don't know what it is about the league and me, but there is something about it that obviously I think Bayside has a lot to do with it. You don't want to let the fans down, but then also just as a team environment, you don't want to let your teammates down. You don't want to let your Tim Mack as the manager down. You don't want to let Charlie down for everything he does for the PBA and bowling and the league and all that. There's just so many people, in my opinion, that I'd be letting down, and I don't want that. And so if that's what it is that causes me just to focus a little bit more, I don't know what it is, but Bayside has been very good to me, and I'm so grateful and glad that it has been, just so I can be able to fulfill, a lot of people's happiness in situations like that.
Yeah. Well, one last question for you guys. I think the most shocking thing to have was that past week, Walter missing a 10-pin or a 7-pin. We have never seen that before on TV. What was your reaction when you saw that? Like normally Walter's like Mr. Perfect. He's like Justin Tucker. He doesn't miss field goals. And all of a sudden he just missed a 7-pin, and like you're all sitting there going, "Will we just see something we have never saw before?" Because I've seen Walter my whole life, and I have never seen him miss a 7-pin before. That's a shocker.
Yeah. Not to knock on Walter by any means, but Walter has. I don't even know that I can say struggled with single pins more, but he definitely missed more as of late than what we all know. So to say it was like a shock to me, every time he misses is a shock. Don't get me wrong, but we definitely have seen more in the last couple of years than what I could probably recall in the other 18 years that I've been on tour. So, I'm with you, but I don't know why or what. Obviously, we're not getting younger, so I'm sure that weighs in a little bit. But, I don't know if it's concentration. I don't know what it is, but he definitely has missed a few more as of the last couple of years than he ever has. So to say it's a shock to me, again, it is a shock, but we have.
That's true. Do you agree, Dave? Like seeing Walter missing a single pin is like.
There were a lot of surprises. There were a lot of misses that happened throughout the show. But I'm not a pro bowler. I'm just one who documents it as a play-by-play guy. Randy and CDD would be better.
Yeah.
Ask about it. But I would say this, that it's always surprising me. To me, Wes, it's like watching you guys, and I'm sure you played basketball growing up, or at some point your athletic career. It's like a layup or a free throw, probably similar to a free throw, maybe a 7-pin or a 10-pin. It is surprising to see it, but as frustrating as it is, I'm sure for the bowlers and fans rooting for that team or that bowler to miss it, it also makes some creative TV for us because it creates some more drama. And I'm telling you, man, I watched that last few minutes back, and I'm still like, I'm just absolutely shocked. It was mind-boggling going back and forth, and it was as exciting a finish because of the missed shots that made it just an absolutely scintillating, thrilling finish. So that had it all, Wes. I mean, that was just it had emotions. We laughed, we cried, we cheered. I mean, if you listen to three announcers, I don't know, we were throwing headsets down. Randy dropped his headset, walked away. I'm the LNC. B's just throwing papers up in the air. It was just like wild theater. It was incredible.
I can tell you one thing. That was probably the most stressful 7-pin that I'd ever shot.
Yeah.
If I would have missed it, I probably would have tried to come up with every excuse why I missed it to be able to reshoot it. Even though we don't.
The wind took it, or check the wind.
Randy threw his headset down. It's something.
Just so that we could get Norm on that last shot.
Wow.
So definitely a little nerve-wracking to make that 7-pin, but I nailed it. It's amazing what you do for your buddies, I guess. A little extra focus, like I said. I mean, you don't want to let anybody down, and that moment wasn't about me. It was about Norm, and I guess it's like if you want to say motherly instincts when stuff happens, it just doesn't matter. You do it for your kids. It's kind of what that was, I guess. Just it took over, and it was supposed to happen.
Well, cool. Good for you. Congrats, man. It was a thrill to be a part of that, as I mentioned. And if Normie is watching or hears about our comments about him, we love you. And what a career. What an extraordinary person, bowler, a gentleman of the sport, a true sportsman. I think you'd agree, Wes, that that's something that everyone should aspire to be. What he created as a legend on and off the lanes, just a fan favorite in so many ways, and we're going to miss him a lot.
Exactly.
He can arguably be one of the best bowlers to ever throw a ball down the lane. And when I say one of the best, we're putting in a very, very small category of maybe top 2 or 3.
You can make that discussion, no question.
Yes. So he will definitely I will miss him dearly for obvious reasons, but he will definitely be missed in the bowling world and out on the PBA tour. And I'm sure I can speak for pretty much everybody that's out there competing week in and week out.
Well said. Well said.
I agree. Well, guys, thanks for coming on. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Dave, I know you're going to get ready for some college football. That's kicking off in a month or so.
Women's event, PWBA event in August, and then college football, and can't wait to get back at it. It's good to have some time off for the family, but I kind of wish we could call another PBA League event tomorrow night, Wes. What do you say? Can we get the gang together again for one more show? That was unforgettable.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe next time they'll extend it. Maybe we get a couple more teams and make a 2-week event probably.
Be awesome. Hey, Wes, best to you and your family. Have a great summer, man. Look forward to seeing you again.
You guys.
Thanks, Wes. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
Guys.
That's it. All right, folks. That's the Gus Malott and Dave Ryan just talking about what happened last Sunday on Fox. If you had a chance to see that Furling finish, you can go to I think you can probably watch it on Fox Sports 1 again this coming week. Let's take a break. Let's get back to our interviews here. We got LaMonte Wade, who is playing for the San Francisco Giants. I had a chance to talk to him last week when he was in Phoenix playing against the D-backs. So here's the interview with him. I talked to him about his playing days at Maryland and what he's doing right now with the San Francisco Giants. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our interview with LaMonte Wade, who is actually a Baltimore kid, playing really well with the San Francisco Giants right now. They're actually doing well in the West. So, LaMonte, thanks for joining us. How's everything in Arizona? You guys played there last night. How did you guys do?
Thanks for having me. First off, last night didn't go so well for us, but we're looking to get back on track tonight.
Yeah, you just came back from injury. So, how's everything going since you're kind of coming off the DL?
It's good. I'm just getting into a good routine with, the treatments I have to do pregame to get my body right. And I'm just trying to stay healthy for the remainder of the season and just staying on top of things.
Yeah. So what was it like being, a kid from Baltimore in the major leagues? Because there's not a lot of kids from Maryland in the majors a lot, these days. So what was it like being that guy that everybody's probably didn't realize you're from Baltimore?
It's cool. It's definitely every day you definitely grateful for the opportunity for sure. just continue to keep working hard and just trying to get better each and every day. But it's definitely cool, and I look forward to one day eventually getting to play in Camden Yards in front of my family.
Yeah. Have you played in front of Camden Yards, or have you been one of those, like, you missed it all the time because you were on the DL or something?
No, I'm not. I've never played in
Wow.
Camden Yards. Never.
Wow, that's crazy.
As a professional, at least.
Oh, okay. But at college, you probably played a game there with Maryland, right?
No, not with Maryland. Just a high school showcase game.
Okay.
We played the Brooks Robinson game. Is in Camden Yards. Played it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Maryland, what'd you think about the baseball team this year? You were part of that team, making that run. Did you watch every night? Were you zoomed in on the TV?
Oh yeah, definitely tuned in. It was really cool to see. Was really cool to see them host it. To be able to see all the fans show up and actually come out and support the team was great. They had a great season. Didn't end the way they wanted to, but still had a great season. They destroyed records. And it's definitely a fun team to watch, and definitely be cheering for them in the upcoming draft, because I feel like there's a lot of guys that'll get drafted on that team and play at the next level. So definitely be following them and rooting them on. Yeah.
Were you praying for them to get to Stanford? Because I know you were there in San Francisco.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, if they win the regional, they'll go out to Stanford, and you're like,
oh,
please, come on.
That would have been a real easy drive, and plus I was on the IL at the time, so I definitely could have made my way over there for sure. I was definitely pulling for them.
Yeah. So what was it like playing in San Francisco? It seems like a great baseball town. I know it's every night's a different color. It's like cold. Yeah, people don't realize, like, we're here in Baltimore, it's like 90 degrees, but you guys are like 68 degrees, and everybody's wearing jackets, in July.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely gets cold in San Francisco, especially when the sun goes down. It gets a little windy and cold out there for sure. My parents found out that the hard way last year. They came expecting it to be sunny, and they know California, they think sunny, but they found out real fast that it can be real cold there as well. But it's a great city, it's a great sports town. We have a lot of support in San Francisco. It's a beautiful ballpark as well. Oracle is very nice. So yeah, like San Francisco is great. It's actually a really cool city.
Yeah. Have you hit one in the Bay yet?
Yes, I have. Last year. I did.
How cool was that? Did they give you like a what did it give you? What did it give you if you hit one in the Bay? I know Bonds used to hit it all the time in there. And it's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you don't really get anything. I did get the ball back though. Took a picture with the guy who retrieved the ball out of the water. We took a picture with my mom and dad. My mom and dad were actually there at that game, so they gave me the ball and we took a picture and traded the ball for it back. So it was cool and very grateful that he gave it back to me, and definitely a memory that me and my parents will have forever.
Yeah. So last year you had a breakthrough season, 18 home runs. That's good for coming from a kid who got traded from the Twins to the Giants.
Yeah. Definitely trying to work on some stuff. Trying to get the ball in the air a little bit more. Last year, and definitely started to see that some things started to work. Definitely trying to get back on that track this year. Just continue to keep working hard and trying to find the right move.
Yeah, who are you facing tonight for the Diamondbacks?
I want to say it's Caleb Smith, I believe.
Okay. Not Bumgarner? No.
No, Bumgarner threw last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How tough is he in the batter's box?
It's tough. It's from that angle. It's definitely a unique angle that you don't really see too often. So you just gotta go up there and grind away at bats and trying to do your best effort to put the ball in play. But it's definitely a tough hat, not a fun one at all as a lefty on left matchup.
That's cool. Well, let me let you go because I know you want to get your batting practice, get yourself ready for tonight's game. Good luck in Arizona. We'll be watching from here in Baltimore. Hopefully one day you come to Camden Yards. You never know.
I hope so. Hey, you never know. I appreciate it, though.
All right, buddy. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
All right, see you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that's LaMonte Wade, former Maryland Terrapin baseball player who is now making a great living out there in San Francisco, playing for the San Francisco Giants. So I think today we'll see what Giants are playing right now. Giants, I think they're playing the D-backs, just like we were playing last week. So we're waiting for Dan Tortora to join us, 7:34 here on the program. Let's see here. Let's see the rest of the schedule. They have a rest of the schedule. Next week is the MLB All-Star game coming up. The Giants right now, they lost. They beat the Arizona Diamondbacks today by a score of 4-3 out there in beautiful San Francisco. Let's just talk about other cool things going on in the world of baseball. We're waiting for Dan to join us. The Baltimore Orioles are the hottest team in Major League Baseball right now. They won winners of 9 in a row. And last night they went to Chicago and they took
the Orioles to 500.
One down here in the bottom of the 9th inning with the Cubs down by 2. So that'll bring up Patrick Wisdom, who's 1 for 2 with a walk.
There is a running fastball at 99. Wisdom frozen shut on a strikeout for Lopez.
So here's Nico Horner.
0-2 for Horner. A flare to center. Mullins is there, and the Orioles have done it again. They take their winning ways on the road. 9 consecutive wins for the first time since 1999. And 500 never felt so good. 44-44. The Orioles will have a chance to get to a winning record tomorrow as they come back once more and beat the Cubs in Brandon Hyde's homecoming.
They beat the Cubs last night 4-2, and they won 9 in a row. And they're going to look for their 10th win tonight against the Cubs. 8 p.m. is the scheduled time for that game out there in beautiful Chicago. Another team, had a great week, here on the program. Let's talk about the Mets today. They ran into the city of Atlanta, and they finally took 2 out of 3 from the Atlanta Braves, and because in front of this guy, who is basically getting hot right now.
Strikeouts, Met pitchers 833. Lindor gets one in the air to right field. Acuna drifts back, looks up at the wall, and it's out of here. Francisco Lindor with a towering 3-run homer. And the Mets lead it 4-0 in the third. Escobar in the second, and now Lindor with a 3-run shot in the third, his 16th of the year, and the Mets putting the hammer down on Charlie Morton. It's 4-0.
Yep. So the Mets took they won 7-3 this afternoon. That was highlighted as courtesy of the folks at SNY, New York Sports TV in New York, for the Mets with Gary Cohen and Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling, and also thanks for Masson, who gave us that clip for last night's win over Chicago. So let's switch gears here. I guess Dan forgot to join us. We'll try to get him on later in the show, or we'll get him next week because the ACC kickoff kicks off this time next week. I'll probably be in a plane flying back home from Charlotte. But in the meantime, let's talk about Week 0. Big game coming down in Tallahassee. The Seminoles of Florida State looking to get themselves back on the track this year. After a tough 2021 and 2020 with the COVID. They take on a very good Duquesne squad. So Duquesne making their trip to Tallahassee the first time. Let's bring in Coach Schmitt with us. Hey, Coach.
Hey, Chris. How are you?
How are you doing? We're actually we still don't have power, but I'm over at my girlfriend's aunt's house right now. So
Wow.
yeah. So it's kind of crazy stuff. So so just talk about this game coming up. Week 0. Normally people don't play Week 0, or they call it Week 0. You guys going down to Tallahassee and taking on the Seminoles. How did this game come about?
Well, when you schedule a game with Hawaii, they give you that permission to play Week 0, I guess, to give you the extra week rest, when you travel all that way and getting back. So we were able to take advantage of playing that Week 0. Getting a game with Florida State, and that allows us to come into camp a week early also and get a jump on the season and get prepared.
Yeah. Well, last year you beat Ohio, your first win over a Power 5 opponent, University of Ohio. What was it like beating a team like that? You won 20-26. You just went into their field and kind of quieted everybody down.
Yeah, we were very fortunate. We played really well, got some breaks. Hung in there towards the end, and our kids did a great job, and it was a fun win. You go away, you go on the road against a tough opponent like that. They had great tradition many, many years, and we were just fortunate to be there at the end, and our kids responded.
Yeah, and it was a good. It seemed like it was a back and forth game because I was looking at the stats. It was like you guys were down for by 7 or 8, and then you guys your defense took over in the second half, just shut them down.
What's crazy, I give our kids a ton of credit because we go up there and we're playing a program like that, and first we kick the ball off and give up a touchdown return, and within 5 seconds we're down 7-0, and our guys were great on the sideline. They said 60-minute game, coach, and they hung in there and stuck in there. And you're right, in the second half, the defense played really well. We possessed the ball, tried to keep it away from their offense as much as we could, and then we were churning out first downs and eating the clock.
Yeah, that's true. Well, this year you also play another Power Spy squad. You're going back out to Hawaii to take on the Warriors or the Rainbow Warriors, whatever they call them now in the state of Hawaii. The football team. You were out there a couple of years ago, and you guys had them on the ropes in the first half. And then they came back and scored 35 unanswered points. So I guess that's a good thing you guys learned from. It probably helped you last year beating Ohio. Know that you have to play all 4 quarters, not the first 2 quarters, knowing that you can still win.
Well, there's no doubt. It was a great experience. It's a great experience to go out there. Many of us, it was our first time, myself included, and so it was great to see the sights and enjoy a little bit of the everything that goes on there at Hawaii, and then we played well. Like you said, we played well in the first half, but we started to get worn down, and we have to learn how to continue to play those 4 quarters. It was such a good experience that we wanted to go back out this year, and it's a challenge with the travel, but we'll have a week off after.
Yeah. Is it because of the because of travel? Because I've been out to Hawaii once, and it's a long 10-hour flight or whatever. How far you guys have to? You probably have to do 2 connecting flights, and you get out there, and you're not used to the time zones yet. Because because for me, I was like, okay, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I can watch Met baseball at 1 o'clock in the morning. It's 1 o'clock here. It's 7 a.m. in the morning, and I can watch breakfast with Met breakfast. Watching the games on Fox. For you guys, are so used to coming. You're going out there. How many days are you going to go out there before that game to get yourself acclimated that, hey, it's actually 2 p.m. Hawaiian time, not 8 o'clock, Eastern time?
Yeah, we'll leave on Tuesday,
Yeah.
And then that'll give us a couple days. And the last time we went out, we called a few programs that had been out there the years before and got some great advice. Is when you get out there, go right to the practice field and practice. Do not let the guys go to sleep. Because of the whole time change. And so you kind of have to force them, and you practice and you come back to the hotel and eat and have a quick meeting. Just basically keep them up so that when they went to sleep, they were out and they got a good 10, 11 hours sleep. And when they woke up, they told us they'll be somewhat acclimated. And it really worked for us. I think we were in pretty good shape.
Yeah, that's true. So what is the rest of the summer for you? Because I know with a lot of people, a lot of coaches go do stuff. You probably took July off a little for 3 weeks, and then now you guys are going back to the office, getting ready for media days and practice. And practice probably going to start August 1st because you play August 27th. So you got a lot of short time to get stuff together.
Yeah, we're 2 weeks from today. We report on the 27th.
Wow.
Of July. So we're 2 weeks. Everybody's back in. I got 1 or 2 guys. Their family vacations were planned, and they'll be back this weekend. But we're cranked up. In fact, this week we're getting our offices painted, so we got stuff all over the place. But we're adapting and holding meetings in different rooms. Kids are working hard in the summer workouts, lifting and conditioning, and we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's good for you guys for your program to be on. Probably going to be on the ACC network that first game of the year. That will help recruiting for you guys, knowing there's other football in Pittsburgh than Steelers, Panthers, and everybody else.
Well, I told about a month ago. I told a local media guy here was talking about our season, and I was over watching the Steelers OTAs.
Yeah,
and Pitt had just finished up. And Coach Narduzzi came over and we were chatting, and I said, "Hey, Pat," I said, "we open up the ACC network season this year." And he looked at me and he was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "We open with Florida State, week 0. He says, "Wow." He said, "That's pretty impressive."
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, Pat's a good guy. He's you guys are doing a great job in the city of Pittsburgh, showing there's more football instead of the Steelers.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Always enjoy talking to him and going to their camps, and they do a great job over there. They won a championship last year, and that's how we recruit too. This is a city of champions, and there's the Steelers, there's Pitt football, and there's Duquesne Dukes.
Yeah.
3 different levels and 3 really good programs.
Exactly. Well, Coach, thanks for joining us tonight, and I hope to get you on before Florida State, maybe that week of that Tuesday, before you guys head on down to Tallahassee. We'll see how you guys are doing, and we can talk a little more strategy with you, because I know right now you're still hoping players get back from vacation, and you're trying to get ready for practice.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly. It'd be great to talk to you that week.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for being such flexible with us with this weather stuff we had here the last couple of days.
Yeah, I hope everybody's okay down there, and you get your power back.
Yeah, we got it back for 2 hours this morning, and then after I said the magic words of like everything's good, and then with the guy from Elon, and 2 seconds later the power went out, and we were still out again, and we're not supposed to get in until like 11 o'clock tomorrow night.
Well, hang in there.
We will. All right, Coach. I'll keep in touch.
Okay, take care, Chris.
All right, man. See you. All right, folks. That's the head coach of Duquesne, the Dukes of Duquesne football, not the JMU Dukes. They're in the Sun Belt. Let's talk to this gentleman who I think he has I think he owns Walt Disney World. I think he might be talking to Pluto to be a sponsor of his show. So let's bring in Dan Tortora. Dan, I like that picture you had on your Facebook. You and Pluto. What are you guys doing? The touchdown dance after you score, or what?
Yeah, we were having some fun. I've been a Pluto fan since I was a little kid. So, it's one of the birthday cakes I remember that my mom got me from Sweetheart Market in Syracuse. So I thought, why not have a little bit of fun with Pluto? And Pluto was really cool. We had a good day. We had fun. Florida's my second home, and for the company and personally. We've coverage of Miami and Florida State, UCF, South Florida, the Jags, covering the Rays, the Dolphins, the Bucks. It's a lot of work we do, a lot of Florida recruiting for high school. So Florida has become my second home, which works in my favor because, I've been to Disney 3 times this year. So
I know. And I see the pictures. I'm like, you suck, because I want to go. So
I'm wearing this from the new ride, honorary.
I know. I want to go down to see that new ride, the Galaxy, the Gardens of the Galaxy. That looked pretty cool at Epcot. Plus, Epcot has that brand new lights on the ball. So I love that, different colors. And, that's better than the old days when they used to put like tinfoil up and say, hey, here's yellow. Yeah.
It's awesome. They made it into a flag for that. I used to work at Epcot, so that was really cool to bring my grandmothers there and bring them to the ball and tell them to look up. And I said, welcome to my office. So it was cool back then to be able to do that. But Epcot's good. The Guardians ride, no spoilers. It's crazy. Watch the movie Eternals.
Okay.
Because if you don't, it makes no sense. But the ride, I can honestly tell you, I never thought that this was mechanically possible.
Okay.
And experiencing it, it's so exhilarating. It's really, you just kind of get off the ride with a big smile on your face. It was cool. It was good.
Nice. So a week from now, you and I are right now as we speak. I think I'm only coming down for Wednesday because I have to come back here due to some other issues. I have to be here on Thursday, but coming down for the ACC Atlantic Division, media with everybody. What are you looking forward to down there on Wednesday? Because we got a lot of things going on here. If you folks are a bit underneath a rock, UCLA and USC decided last week or 2 weeks ago, hey, I want to go to the Big Ten. Yeah. Now everybody's talking about let's go to the SEC or let's go to this place, and Florida State and Clemson, and now Clemson and Virginia are supposed to be going somewhere. And then I saw last night on Twitter, SMU's thinking about going to the ACC. This is going to be one of those days that we're going to get down there and everybody's going to be, looking at somebody and go, we're leaving in 2 years, sir. Have a great day. Yeah.
I've been talking about this a lot, and we have talked a lot of college realignment on Wake Up Call these last few weeks. And we actually last week about a week ago, we did a road map, and anybody could get this show or any of them on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. But I put the map up and I circled where everybody is or where everybody could go. And I have all my theories and whatnot. And we just today again on the show spoke about listen, I love the ACC. I love everything that we get to do with all the teams. And at the same time, as someone who is a business owner, I can't argue that Clemson and Florida State shouldn't go to the SEC. I can't. And I've thought about all the reasons why they should go, and there's so many, and that is really a hard part. And with all these, I think the SEC is going to get to 20, and that's my opinion. And I think when they get to 20, it could be 4 from the ACC, and because they have 16 already, they will have 16 by 2020. I think before 2025 we'll see a move, but once they have 16, you're not going to be able to play. I mean, you think about it. If you play 12 games a year, right, and you have 16 schools, you're not going to be able to play your whole conference, obviously. And then if you get to 20, you're not going to play half your conference. There's not going to be non-conference games with the SEC. I think they're going to break away. I've said that since last year. And you're going to lose Clemson, South Carolina. You're going to lose Florida, Florida State. How do you preserve those rivalries? By bringing them into your conference. They're already in your footprint. The SEC is one of I think arguably, well, no, I mean there's still some teams that are, but the SEC is staying true in their expansion and realignment to staying in the South. Their footprint is, from Texas to Florida and then up to Kentucky area, and it's a great conference. It's a beautiful conference, and I think that I probably believe that the conversations have already happened, and there's a checkers move that I think the SEC is going to. They're waiting for the ACC to do something that's going to be a mistake, and if the ACC and the Pac-12 form this loose alliance and they have a championship game and they have to open up the grant of rights in order to change the TV deal with ESPN, once they open up that grant of rights, that's when I think the SEC is going to go in and take the teams that they want. I think they're waiting for the ACC to make a mistake.
I think I'm a Florida State fan, and yes, I don't want them to leave the ACC because since I was a kid. But if they go to the SEC, you look at the rivalries. They got Jimbo going to come to town, and I know Tallahassee wants that guy on a Barbie, and fry him like he'd never been fried before because of the way he left town, that day. Then you got the rivalry of Florida, and now it's going to be meant something because it's still, the state of Florida, yes, you got Florida and Florida State playing at the end of the year. Winner gets the Florida Cup. But now it's going to be something like, hey, this team's going to knock the guy out to go to the SEC title game, and it's going to be something more than just playing each other at the end of the year and maybe going to a bowl game and all that stuff. And with Miami coming to town in the SEC, you got Miami and Florida who really don't play each other that much because they had a squirrel or a hissy fit or whatever back in the 80s because Miami was so dominant they ran up the score on the Gators, and the Gators were like, we're not playing them anymore, and now they're playing them every other year. Because I get this from my older brother who's a Miami Hurricane fan. He goes, and I have a little brother who's a Gator fan, so I have to hear all this garbage at Easter time. Just to ask my mother about it. But to me, it's great that you got to bring. And then with South Carolina, yes, Clemson is better than you, and if you want to play with Clemson every year and you want something meaningful, except for winner of the whatever, you get a cup down there in South Carolina. Now it's meant something that if you beat Clemson, you're going to knock them out of the SEC title game or whatever title game. And it's meant more for your school knocking them out instead of going, we beat you in a football game. Yay.
I mean, I think, listen, the SEC, they can do whatever they want. I mean, money is not an option. So grant of rights is till 2036. This is, I think they are. I think they're waiting for the ACC to see what they do. The question that I have with the ACC is if the SEC cut off the head of the Big 12, they didn't take 2 teams from the Big 12. They took the teams. The Big 12 didn't take 2 teams from the Pac-12. They took the teams. And so you got two conferences that cut off the heads of the other conferences. And then you're the ACC who's done nothing. I don't want to go to Media Day next week with silence because it's kill or be killed right now. And if the ACC doesn't start making moves, listen, they're not going to cut off the head of the SEC. They're not going to cut off the head of the Big Ten. They can't cut the head off the Big 12 or the Pac-12 because that's already happened. So the only thing the ACC could do, there's two moves that they could do. There's only two moves that they can make that will put them in the headlines above the other things going on. There's only two.
Okay.
Keep Clemson, which will keep everybody else, keeping Clemson and getting Notre Dame. Those are the only two moves that they can make that is going to put them up. I think they should go after Maryland and West Virginia, but those are little blips on the radar. The only things that are going to put the ACC in front of it all is keeping Clemson and getting Notre Dame somehow. And I tell you, that Notre Dame Big Ten, there's a lot to talk about there.
Yeah. Well, you just said about Maryland. I feel like Maryland has they burned a lot of bridges with the ACC, and they got to kiss a lot of booty when they get back in there, because I think when they moved to the Big Ten, there was a lot of squabble and a lot of issues that I heard, under the radar, that how bad it was that Maryland just decided, they were a flagship of that conference, and they go, hey, we're going to the Big Ten. See you later. Have a great day. And I think people in the ACC are still bitter about it. And if they bring them back in along with West Virginia, Maryland needs to do a lot of maybe they have their own media tour and go around different places in the South going, we're sorry for going, we're leaving. We left because of the internet issue we had, but we fixed it, but we'll come back for you.
It's weird because Maryland, when they left, I remember being in the room for media days, and it wasn't like it was like a weird, it was like coming home and finding out that your spouse packed everything up and left when you were gone for
left you a note later, fool.
There was no sign. It was just a really weird move. But again, you take Maryland, West Virginia, it doesn't really do much. It helps with your rivalries. It helps with BC, Pitt, Syracuse, but maybe Louisville. But ultimately, Notre Dame is, if Clemson goes to the SEC and Notre Dame goes to the Big Ten, it's game over for everybody.
Right.
And I mean that. That is game over. And everything's coming up at the same time. After 2025, there's no college football playoff contract. After 2025-26 area, Notre Dame's contract's up with NBC. So, and then Oklahoma and Texas are supposed to move in 2025. Follow the money, follow the bouncing ball. Please come and sit with us, children, because it's right in front of our faces. And I think that people need to realize the college football playoff expansion halted because the powers that be knew that there was going to be a wave, and they're letting all the dust settle until they decide what they're going to do, because what's happening right now is going to affect how we're going to do the playoff. And I think that the FBS is going to be splitting amongst itself. And I think that it's not going to be Division 1A, Division 1AA, FBS, FCS. I think there's going to be multiple FBS levels, and then the FCS is going to keep doing what they do.
Exactly. So what's the plans for you for the rest of the week for your show before we go down to Charlotte? Because I'm ready to go. I got my plane tickets. I'm ready to go. Hopefully hope American Airlines doesn't screw me over in the morning, next Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely this week we have Lenore Sellers coming on the show, who hopeful future quarterback of Syracuse, just had his brother Jaden Sellers on, both from South Carolina. We're going to be continuing to talk about realignment. Got some baseball stuff coming up. Every Friday, we do the annoying moment of the week. We do a faith-based segment called Lead from Chick-fil-A, and we'll announce our top dog of the week. We're also going to be getting into fantasy football because we do a lot of that all year long. But yeah, a lot of different views, a lot of different thoughts on college realignment. I've gotten really deep into it. We put a lot of polls up the last couple of weeks, and I'm very interested in what people are thinking, because we've gotten, thankfully, a lot of voters in. Twitter @CallDT is where we put them up. And we've got some really interesting thoughts going on. I have some thoughts about Oregon. I think the Pac-12 and the Mountain West should play nice, and they should get married. So I got a lot of thoughts about what's going on in realignment. And then, obviously I'll be voting for the Atlantic and Coastal Division, because after this year there will be no divisions.
Right.
Definitely interested in talking about the 3-5-5 model, but I think I have how I'm gonna predict the order of finish. I may move a team or two, but I think I'm pretty clear on my thoughts on the Atlantic and the Coastal right now.
Yeah, we're gonna do a show next Thursday, back at the home office here. But I don't know if you're flying home or staying down in Charlotte after the Coastal is. But let's have you on, and we'll see what you think, and I'll get some other media members to come on next Thursday, and we'll do a little roundtable and what they liked about media day and what are they looking for on Wednesday. Because to me, I'm a Seminole fan. They got to sell me why you want to go to the SEC. Got to sell me, sell me why. And I know why, because of money, but to me, I'm still like, I'm an old school HC guy. I'm like, you got to show me why you want to go. Yeah. If you want to go. It's fine. I love you. I'll still love you guys. I'm going to be a Seminole fan the day until I go 95 years old and in the grave. I'm a Seminole fan for life, but it's just not seeing them in the ACC. It's like watching the New York Mets going to the American League. It's like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough because I respect and love the ACC, and I love the makeup of the 15 schools that are there and 14 in football, and I would love to see Notre Dame there. And at the same time, as an impartial broadcaster, I see the ominous cloud and I understand it. So
yeah.
I, again, can't argue Clemson and Florida State, Miami, looking at that. And, I question some things. And the worst action is inaction. And the ACC, if we go to media days and everything is still quiet on the Eastern Front, I should say, but if everything's quiet and nothing's going on, the Big Ten is moving all the way over up against the Atlantic coast. The SEC is up against the Atlantic coast. I mean, they're essentially pushing the ACC into the water. And I think the ACC has to do something because you're the only conference that doesn't respond. The Big Ten did something. The SEC did something. The Big 12 did something. Mark my words, the Pac is going to do something. So I think the ACC really needs to do something that shows that they are a power conference. Right. And I don't think Jim Phillips was brought there just to come there. And I'm really interested to hear, we've sat down before, and I'm really interested to hear what the model is, because John Swofford was very honest with me over a long period of time. And I very much respect the fact that he said things to me about 5-6 years ago that are kind of happening right now. So
right. Well, I'll see you at breakfast next Wednesday morning. I'll find you at one of those tables because I'm dying for that bacon.
A lot. That's the one thing the ACC does. They feed us well.
Yeah.
It's an all carb diet, and but the food is Bojangles, bacon.
Yeah.
Cookies, but I got to tell you, the ACC does right by me, and that's why this man does his 10,000 steps, so I can Thor and not fat Thor when I leave. So
exactly. All right, boss man. I'll see you next Wednesday morning. All right.
All right, brother. Be good. Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy. God bless, buddy. See you.
Yeah.
All right, that's our good friend Dan Tortora. We'll get him on next week, folks. A little more, more about the ACC, and he's like old school like me. So let's bring in this young lady who is down in Tallahassee, where everybody in Florida State and everybody around the surrounding areas are wondering if Florida State's going to the SEC or who's going with other teams to the different conferences. We'll figure it out. Let's bring in Danielle Kelley, who used to do a radio show down there in Tallahassee with one of the former Florida State running backs. So, hi Danielle, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Not bad. I'm over at the I'm in the other office because my house still doesn't have power. But yeah, we had a major thunderstorm that came through. Almost like it had like 52 to 80 wind, gusts of wind. It was almost like a little hurricane, and it like wiped out the entire my block's fine. The powers are the wires are good, but the power company, they like to play a little game with people. Like,
no, I get it.
I'll turn you on. I'll keep you on for 5 hours. I even called them today. I'm like, do you guys play with electric or what's going on here? And they're like, and the lady goes, we don't play with electric. I'm like, yeah, you do. You move things around because we had power at 8 o'clock this morning, and then 10 o'clock a.m. everything shuts down. I have a girlfriend who has a disability, and she's stuck in her chair, and I have to do everything with a 9-volt battery to get her out of the chair.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
So
That's not fun. It's
yeah,
not.
it's been a wild 2 days. But anyway, you had a couple of days. I saw in your tweet yesterday. SMU's thinking about going to the ACC. First of all, are you going to the ACC kickoff next week, or are you going to stay back in Tallahassee?
I'm probably going to be here in Tallahassee and waiting to find that out. Actually, do have a new show with Real Talk 93.3 here in Tallahassee. I'm also the meteorologist there. So when you start talking about weather stuff, I get it. I get it completely. And yeah, my plan is to be here. Yeah, it has been a week. Let's just say that. It's been a week. I'm like, it's only Wednesday? Like, really?
Yeah, it's Wednesday, and it's like everybody's talking about this team going here. This 6 teams are talking to the Big 10 or the Big 12, and then we were just talking to Dan Tortora, a good friend of mine up at Syracuse, and they're talking. He's hearing that Florida State and Clemson might be bolting, and if they bring Miami with them, and it's going to be a different landscape in 2025 when all this college football playoff thing is up for renewal, and by
You're not kidding.
a week,
It's the truth. And on my show last week, I actually had Walt Tula that does Road Rage in Clemson because I wanted to get a Clemson perspective on everything that was going on. And yeah, largely, I would have to say, I heard what you said in the interview with him before, but largely, I would have to say, based on the polls I'm seeing and stuff like that, for Clemson and FSU, they want out. They want to be a part of whatever. And like you said, money drives this. Florida, this all really started with the grant of rights, which is the contract everybody's referring to. I'll refer to it as GOR in tweets. But the initial one was done in 2013. And then it was picked up by a lawyer, apparently, that did a public records request to North Carolina and got a copy of that. Since then, the Osceola at Florida State Media Company has gotten a copy of both the amendment in 2016 and the initial 2013 one. So now we can see who signed those agreements on our behalf. So have had a brief chance to review that tonight, but it's not much to review. Really, it was just an amendment. Basically, the next one, not only extending us to 2036, but adding the ACC network kind of language to it.
Yeah.
So it's
I feel like with the ACC network, it's struggling right now because Packin and Durham was their morning show, and then last week or before 4th of July, they're done.
Yeah,
and like, who does that? Are they having bad ratings? Because I know down in Tallahassee, they're having a hard time with Comcast and getting the ACC network. I know last year at Media Day, that was a big stink around, Commissioner Phillips. Can you get your contract done with Comcast? Me, I have YouTube TV, and I had the ACC network every day.
I had Comcast. I had to switch to DirecTV, to get it. And that's part of the problem with their negotiating standpoint, because now you're hearing reports that came out yesterday. I'm like, as if we're not dealing with recruiting issues already enough this week. Then you hear that they're talking to SMU, and then the fan base really does flip out. So, like, ACC, what are you doing? Is that going to be the stand? I mean, just trying to bring people in to keep themselves going? Because I think a lot of what people forget about this is the networks are driving this. Whatever the networks want to happen is what's going to happen. That's what's already happened. So I that's from a lawyer standpoint as well, because I'm a lawyer, FSU grad. It's a little bit more behind the scenes than people think.
Well, explain to the folks who are listening to my program. They have this body ship that you were talking about. The some kind of you're not. It's still till 2036 or something like that. What if there's a team, like let's say example, won't use Florida State. Let's use Louisville, and Louisville comes to the ACC offices like, I want to go to the American Athletic Conference again. What is the penalty for the team to say, I want to get out of that contract? Because anybody can get out of a contract. It's called this, and and your mom give you a plate of a nice piece of cake and say, here you go, and have a great day. My mom probably does. My mom makes some good food, but sometimes I said, stop using that as a negotiated bargain, your mother. But anyway, explain to the folks, what is it? Because to me, I'm trying to explain to my girlfriend about it, because she's like, why they have this rule? And I'm like, well, this is what they set up years ago, because what Maryland left to go to the Big Ten,
Yeah.
And now I hear stories from Dan Tortora that they want to come back to the ACC. I'm like, okay, maybe for football, because they're not doing real good in the Big Ten in football. Big Ten is a way bigger, for football. If they could split it between ACC football and Big Ten basketball, they could do that if they want to. But I don't know if the state of Maryland wants to do that. But anyway, explain what the rules are and why can't a team like Louisville can't go call them up tomorrow like, later, dude.
Well, the ACC may let them, to be honest with you. I mean, and that's been part of the problem. And there's your and I know I'm going to talk an attorney perspective on a lot of this. There's the king and the whole story. You allowed Notre Dame to do it. So what are you going to do now? Are you going to have different rules for different people? Even though the grant of rights initially said, that Notre Dame, it was in a separate contract, but that Notre Dame would be, if they join a conference, would become a part of the ACC before 2036. So are you going to if Louisville wanted to be half in and half out right now, could they do that? The penalty the ACC could try to pull is the grant of rights, which is granting your media rights and dealing with, handing over all that money. But if they did that to Louisville, Louisville's got a legitimate argument based on what's happened with Notre Dame. So precedent has been set by the ACC and the way they've negotiated before. And that was one thing Walt brought up on the show last week, even from a Clemson standpoint. The ACC lost all their leverage to have Notre Dame officially join fully in the conference during the COVID year when we went to conference-only schedules. And Notre Dame needed us, so we allowed them in, of course. And that would be the only example that I could provide of having a complete conference on that level. So Louisville would have a legitimate argument,
right?
If that
wanted
to do it.
And I feel like Notre Dame could be that wild card if, let's say, Florida State or Miami rolls out, or Clemson and Florida State rolls out. You could call on a Notre Dame and go, can you please come? But the problem is Notre Dame has that beautiful contract with NBC Sports or Peacock or whatever, because my girlfriend's my girlfriend's aunt had a problem last year because they were playing on Peacock, and she goes, what is that? I'm like, that's like you got to pay like $9 to watch your Irish. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah. She goes, that's not cool. I'm like, well, that's what it is now. It's part of what money talks, and I sit there like, yeah. And I feel like if Notre Dame wants to leave, yes, they could join like right here in Maryland. I covered the CAA, and we just had JMU roll out and go to the Sun Belt, and now Stony Brook is now a full member of the CAA. They used to be just a football member, and that's it. Now they're a full member of the the CAA. They could do the same thing as Notre Dame, but Notre Dame has to, bite their lip and go, okay, I guess I have to give up that NBC contract, because that's what in 2020 the ACC enjoyed. They were like, wow, we got extra money coming in, and we could get stuff that we need to get done. And then Notre Dame looked at them last year like, later, going back independent. Bye-bye now.
It was not a good move. And because it's a revenue sharing deal. So the money they were getting was coming into the conference. That does not mean the schools in the conference were profiting off of Notre Dame joining that year as much as people think. You would be surprised. So, I mean, a lot of that goes to the ACC. The issue with me is, and I know you said you're an old school ACC guy and you're always going to be pro ACC. The issue with me is the ACC has kind of set themselves up for court battles and legal arguments on all of this. By the way, they've handled everything so far.
Right. Yeah. And it's going to be a fun little day down there next Wednesday with the Atlantic Division, hearing Florida State talking and making it sound like everything's peachy and everything's hunky dory. And I guarantee you, Coach. Novell's going to get a question about, are you guys leaving to the SEC? And I feel bad for Davo, and I feel bad for Coach Mike. You got to answer these questions when your AD and your athletic director hasn't really told you what's going on, and now you have to answer these questions. And I don't know how Dabo's going to say it, because Dabo loves the ACC, and yes, I know the ACC the last couple of years have been struggling, and Clemson's been like Clemson became Florida State. Because when we came in the league, Florida State dominated the ACC, and that's what I love, because back in the day it was great that we automatically went to the Orange Bowl. Like, hey, see you later, all. We're in the Orange Bowl. But now it's like, we're struggling getting to the conference championship game, and to me it's like, okay, if Clemson wants to come with us, that's great. If Clemson leaves, that gives Florida State an easy opening to get back into what we're doing.
See, and there's a whole different angle I have with that, because I guess I was before you. I was there during the days when we were independent. My father worked the field as one of Bobby Bowden's escorts for the Florida Highway Patrol. So I was on the sidelines for a lot of
that's cool. Nice.
We were independent, and Bobby Bowden, he really wanted to join the SEC. Always. I mean, we're talking, and my family's from Alabama too, so I get me and Coach Andrews and me and Coach Bowden used to joke about that. But he always wanted to join them, and they would say no, no, no. A lot of people, but he would schedule every SEC team he could. I will, without question. I think even at one point it was reported Auburn paid us not to play them anymore, because Bobby, and they wouldn't come here, we would go there, and Coach Bowden would say, fine, I'll just go beat them there, which he did. And so that was, and along with playing Notre Dame, Michigan State, whoever he could, he wanted the toughest schedule. When we joined the ACC, and it's widely reported, you'll always hear that Coach Bowden was quoted as saying that it was an easier path to the national championship. That's not a lie. Of course it was. But at the same time, the SEC was finally coming around with us, and we could have joined. And there was also pressure from the administration on us joining the ACC for basketball. Iron sharpens iron, let's be honest. Harder schedules make your team better. It makes recruiting better. So we joined the ACC. Did it pay off in basketball? Absolutely. I mean, you're playing UNC, dude, you're dealing with this year in and year out. It paid off. Did it cost us in football?
Right.
In the long run? And that's always going to be the big question. So when people ask me, do you really want to get thrown into the fire with the SEC? That's how it's raised. So my answer will ultimately be yes. It comes from a legal standpoint. I understand both sides of the argument. It comes from a legal standpoint as well. I don't trust the ACC in negotiations, not after what they've done.
Exactly.
So,
well, it's going to be fun next week. I know you're not going to be there, but we'll try to get you on, before the start of that game against Duquesne. I had the coach of Duquesne on, and it's going to be interesting to see a team from Pittsburgh coming down to Tallahassee. And I don't want to say it, but Florida State needs to win that game, because if you go to New Orleans against LSU 0-1, there's going to be a lot of issues going on.
If you think our fan base has had a fit this week recruiting to not lose the first game, I seriously, but at the same time, I've been through those first games and all that fun stuff, like the Virginia Tech. I posted a clip of an interview I did with Coach Bowden before Coach Taggart's debut with Virginia Tech. Hyped game, we're retiring P-Dub's jersey. Coach Bowden's an honorary captain. We got a new coach. We're going to take the world. By the end of the game, I was ready to crawl under the bleachers. So, let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's take them. I am impressed with Coach Norvell and what he's doing on offensive line recruiting. So I will take that right now, because I think that's been a big need we needed.
Exactly. Well, thanks for coming on tonight. Thanks for being that go-to person, because I had a cancellation with the power outage we had yesterday. One of the coaches couldn't come on, but thank you for filling in for him. And we'll keep in touch. We'll have you on probably before that first game against Duquesne, and we'll talk about maybe that first game again, the second game against LSU. We'll get more in depth to that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to talk more in depth on that.
All right, Danielle. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
See ya. Bye. All right. It's Danielle Kelley, who is a weather woman, meteorologist, and a sports reporter in Tallahassee. So, changing the schedule, our friend Gary McDaniel will not be able to make it tonight. He's under the weather this evening, so he will join us probably next week down in Charlotte. So, folks, it's 8:19. I want to do some birthday shout out to my little brother, who is not little anymore. My brother, who is today he is 38 years old. Hopefully here he is right here, my brother. He's 38 years old. today's his birthday, but he's dealing with a lot of situations with no power and like I am. So this is a heck of a birthday gift. Hopefully he gets power back to for his kids. Nice. My niece Sophia and my nephew Noah. He's going to be a football player. Maybe you play for Elon. You never know. We'll talk about that shortly. And then I want to say happy anniversary. This was from yesterday because we're doing the show today. Nicole's parents, Charlie and Suzanne Hubler, who had their wedding anniversary yesterday. They got married on that day in 1975, and I found out the top songs in 1975 are right here. So we do have to play one little clip because some people might ask me why we're playing this, but here it is. Okay, we're done with that. So Charlie and Suzanne, happy anniversary from yesterday. I know you guys had a great, where you were on vacation. So thanks for joining us every week on the program. So anyway, let's get back to the program here. We got the head coach of the Fighting Phoenix of Elon, Coach Tony Tricanelli with us. Hey, Coach Tony, how you doing?
Doing great, man. How you doing, Chris?
Not bad. Thanks for coming on tonight. I appreciate being so flexible. Last night with the power outage here, I was like, I have never canceled a show before, and I was going to use the hotspot on my girlfriend's phone, and they're like, "Yeah, your quality looked like crap." I'm like, "Okay, I guess I have to sit back." And it was 12 hours of pure hell with no power.
I hear you.
And then
that's all right.
And the power came on at 8:00 this morning, and I'm like, "All right, I could stay home and do it at my house. Everything's great." I used the magic word, everything's good. And the power went back off. So we have no power until tomorrow night, And my dad goes, don't use that word, everything's good.
Right.
That's a jinx. So you opened up the season, Coach Tony, against Vanderbilt, this year. So going down to Nashville, going down this, you're going to take care of some country music, write some songs, and maybe write a hit tune, getting out of there, how to beat Vanderbilt, but let's talk about this game coming up against Vanderbilt, an SEC team. It's not really the prime team in the SEC, but it is an SEC school.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be a great trip for us, really. In our fan base, they're excited about it. Spending Labor Day weekend in Nashville, that's not a bad spot. So we should have a good group of followers for that game. And they're not Alabama perhaps or Georgia or LSU or Texas A&M, but they're an SEC team. They've got SEC players, and it's their second year as a staff, and that's usually when you see a lot of growth. So Coach Lee, he's a good football coach, and he'll have those guys prepared, and and I'm sure expecting a different football team in year two.
Yeah, when you weren't there in 2011, but Coach Franklin was the head coach at Vanderbilt. So I think I have this at the end of this video. He's actually shaking hands. I'm like, Coach Franklin was down there? It's like, that's kind of crazy because he always known, and he's a Penn State guy, but he went there after Maryland. Yeah,
he did. He got it going there too.
Yeah. So let's just talk about the CAA this year. Brand new. We got a couple of brand new teams. Except for Stony Brook, about Stony Brook. Now they're a full member. And you have Hamilton, and you have Mammoth University coming in, and then next year you got North Carolina A&T, coming by, to play football. So it's going to be a different CAA. It's not your father's CAA anymore.
No, I've seen this league change a good amount, really. I got into the league when we were the Yankee Conference. I was at the University of New Hampshire, probably 1998, and then when we had UMass and UConn, they were both in our league, and then it became the Atlantic 10. We had Hofstra, they were in our league, and no longer. Northeastern was in the league, no longer. BU was in the league. So I've seen this league change quite a bit, and for us at Elon, we're relatively new to the CAA, and it took us a couple of years to build our program here at Elon to a CAA type of roster where we could be competitive. But it's the type of league where you've got to show up every week. I mean, from top to bottom. Today, we were picking, a projected finish for our league, as coaches in the league, and it's hard to do. Last year we were picked 12th in the league, and we finished 3rd. So, I mean, it's not easy. Anybody can beat anybody in our league. And with the departure of James Madison, they were a great program and a bit of a different animal from a resource standpoint than some of us. But I think we've added some good teams.
Yeah. I feel I'm sorry they had to go to the Sun Belt, but everybody wants to get their go upper next level, and I hope they do a great job down in Harrisonburg, and hopefully they have the crowds they're looking for, because I heard stories that the fan base got tired of seeing Elon and Delaware and Towson, and I'm like, folks, it's football. What do you do down there on Saturday afternoons in the fall? Yeah, you tailgate. Because I have a house down there in Massanutten, and the only thing they got going is Massanutten, the ski resort, and you can't ski until in November. So why are you complaining?
Right. And they got to celebrate a lot of wins and throw a lot of streamers on the field. That's their thing at JMU. They throw the purple and gold streamers on you when they score touchdowns. So
I got hit in the head once with that. I was down there covering a JMU versus New Hampshire, and one of them came down and got me in the head. I'm like, what the heck is this?
Yeah. There won't be as many streamers, when they're playing App State and every week, and Louisiana and Marshall, and won't be as many streamers.
I think it would be great one day to see JMU take on Florida State in Harrisonburg, and I'm like, oh, that's going to be a traffic nightmare.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
I told my parents stay away from that place. I'm like, yeah, we don't go there during the fall. We stay away from that place. We go the other way. I'm like, okay.
Right.
Yeah. But just looking at your schedule, it's besides Vanderbilt, you got Warford, who is going to play. They're going to play a game against. I think they're playing Virginia Tech this year, and then you open up against William & Mary with Coach London, who is in his 3rd, 4th year there, pretty much.
Yep. So we got our out of conference schedule. Wofford is a really good regional rival for us. They're a perennial Southern Conference champion, which we used to be in the Southern Conference with them. So that's a good game for us to continue to play down here. And they've been traditionally a very strong program, and they're undergoing kind of some rebuilding right now. But that'll be a good game for us again this year. And then we have Gardner Webb at home as our opener, another in-states opponent, and then CAA opener at William & Mary. Coach London's got them going there. They play great defense, and offensively they do a nice job offensively too. They've got some dual threat quarterbacks and a couple of them now. So they're tough. They've got a real good run game.
Yeah. Just talk about, with Towson, you guys play against Towson again this year. It seems like you guys haven't hosted Towson in couple of years. And it's like, I was looking at the results, and you guys have been in Towson the last couple of years. I'm like, who came up with that schedule? That's
right. Yeah. It's weird like that. And I think we had them at home for a couple of years in a row there too. So, we haven't been able to get through a full cycle of the CAA schedule, actually. Usually we set the schedule up in 4-year cycles, but we haven't been able to get through a cycle because of COVID. And then now you've got some new teams in the league and an odd number of teams this year. So this year's schedule is like a one-off. So hopefully next year we can get into a traditional 4-year cycle where you don't have these back-to-back, home games against your conference opponents.
Yeah. So playing those Power 5 games against Vanderbilt, what's the next couple of years? What are you guys doing in scheduling wise? I know that's a big payday for you guys.
Yeah.
Helps, with the facilities and all that stuff. And also, is there any big games that you guys are going to, like, ooh, we want to go play these guys?
Yeah, we've got Duke and Wake Forest coming up here the next 3 years. I think we've got Duke twice and Wake Forest once, and we'll probably get App State back on the schedule. We had them last year. That's a good one for us in state here. A lot of our fans remember when we used to be in the Southern Conference together. So that's a good one. And when you can play those games close to home and, maybe not get paid as much, but you don't have to get on a charter flight. It's like making another $100,000 from the game if you don't have to get on a charter.
Yeah. So you guys are located, because I'm trying to. Elon is it west of Charlotte or is it before Charlotte?
So we're between Greensboro and Raleigh-Durham.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
we're an hour and a half north of Charlotte, kind of in the eastern part of the middle of the state, I guess.
Oh, okay. So next time I drive up I-85, I may make a detour.
You go right by us. You'll see it. University Drive.
Yeah.
Come on by.
Yeah.
Welcome anytime.
Exactly. I might do that this fall and just take a road trip down there, because it's beautiful down there in North Carolina during the fall. It's warm.
Yeah, it really is.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about the cold up here in Maryland. But
no. And we host some good games this year. We got Delaware coming down here.
They have a new coach, coming this year. No more coach. What's his name? The guy used to be at Richmond, our good friend. I had him on pretty times before, but it's kind of sad that they let him go.
Yeah.
And now they have a new coach, and I guess everybody's still trying to, like, hey, you're not winning any CAA championships. We got to let you go.
Danny Rocco was the coach of the year in 2020 in the CAA, and in 2021 goes 5-6 and doesn't make the playoffs, and in comes Ryan Carty. So football's important there. They
like you just won coach of the year during COVID.
Right.
Like, come on now.
Right.
And Coach Rocco was really cool. He was down to earth with his I could sit there and talk football for like 5 hours with him. Just X and O's, and I'm like, wow. And the first time I met him, he was with Richmond, and I'm thinking to myself, who is this clown? Like he was so like, like he didn't he didn't look at you straight ahead. He looked at you like with the eye thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, normally coaches look straight ahead and talk to the reporters. He's doing this like, eyeball thing. I'm like, and you worked with the Jets? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now Danny's a really good football coach. He's quirky. But he knows a lot of football. Yeah. He did a great job at Liberty, and then at Richmond, and then at Delaware. Just didn't finish it there last year.
Well, he made that he put that groundwork in Liberty, because that's where they are right now, and Hugh Freeze is taking over and doing a great job there. That's a good thing. And you're doing a great job down in Elon, because you took over for the guy who went to JMU.
Yep, Kurt Signetti.
Yeah. So what was like getting that phone call saying, "Hey, you want to be a coach of Elon?" And you're like, "Sure." Yeah.
Well, I was here. I was the defensive coordinator.
Okay.
And so I left Villanova in 2016, after 2016, to come work with Kurt at Elon. And it was my second time at Elon. I had coached at Elon with Pete Lembo back in 2007 or 6 and 7. We came down from Lehigh. So I knew what the place had. And so after being here for 2 years as a defensive coordinator, I was hoping to be able to stay and continue what we had started with Kurt. Yeah,
that's true. So, so when is the first day of practice for you guys? I mean, is it August 1st? Is that when everybody starts kicking off, or is it?
Yeah, we report on August 3rd, and we start practicing on August 4th.
Okay.
We'll be here before we know it.
Well, I'd like to get you back on the week before the Vanderbilt game. We'll do a little more in depth, because right now you're just waiting for your players to come back from vacation and making sure they're not you're not eating over their limits, so they're ready to go. So on vacation, they chow down. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. I got a couple more weeks to play some golf before we cool. Really crank it up. But
so what do you do?
Our guys most of our team's on campus right now. Really,
that's cool. So what do you do during the summer? Because I was talking to Coach from Stonybrook yesterday, Coach Chuck. A lot of coaches take like 3 weeks off. They go to the doctors. They get everything all taken care of. Everything's good, and then they're getting ready to go first week. And you guys are in film until probably Christmas morning, or if you guys play bowl games or something like that. But what do you do during that time off? Do you play golf? Like you just said,
Yeah.
Do you go on vacation? Do you do anything cool with the family, or what?
Yeah, we typically do a family boat trip every summer around 4th of July with some of our family here in North Carolina. My wife and I, and I golf a good amount whenever I can. I'm usually golfing if I'm not at the office, this time of year. But we like to hit the beach, get on the boat, and play some golf.
That's cool. And the golf courses are great down there in North Carolina. So what's the best course down there? If I go down there to play golf, because I'm not a golf guy, I have a baseball swing. So I I look like Mike Piazza when I hit one. Yeah, I actually went to the driving range one time with my dad, and I yelled Omaha. And my dad goes, "What?" Because I hit one deep. What's the best place and what's the cheapest place for people to play golf? Because with me, I work at a different job and I don't get enough pay anyway. So what's the cheapest place to play?
Well, there's a lot of options here. It's easy to grow grass in North Carolina. So the golf courses are all very nice, even, the less expensive ones. But we've got one, Indian Valley, about 10 minutes from campus, just north of campus. And you can get on there about $16 during the week. So it's pretty cheap.
Nice.
But it's a good spot. But Alamance Country Club is right on campus. That's a good one. But if you want to play some high-level courses, you go about an hour and a half south to Pinehurst. And, you got a lot of high-level golf courses down there.
That's cool. Well, Coach Tony, thanks for coming on. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and good luck with your golf game. And we'll talk to you the week of the Vanderbilt game and see how you guys are doing.
Sounds good. Look forward to it.
All right, Coach. Thanks, man.
Take care. All right, we'll see you.
Bye. All right, that's Coach TONYTRISCIANI, who is the head coach of Elon, getting ready for their big game against Vanderbilt. Right now, he's going to play golf, the next week or so. So hopefully, we'll talk about his golf game another time. So let's get back to the show. Our last thing of the show here, because due to our good friend Gary McDaniels, who can't make it to the program tonight because he's under the weather, we'll talk ACC with him next week when we're down there in the ACC Media Day. We talked to the Stony Brook head coach, Coach Chuck Priore, yesterday on the program. So here, yesterday afternoon before, it was Monday before the rain came. No, it was actually yesterday. I think I did it before the storm showed up. So anyway, here's my interview with the head coach of Stony Brook, and then we'll wrap it up with some kind of funny stuff I found. Well, Coach, thanks for joining us this afternoon. So let's talk about this upcoming season, brand new year in the CAA. We got JMU left to go to the Sun Belt. So what's your take on the three new teams coming into the league?
Well, I think they're certainly good additions. Getting another team up in our region in Monmouth was certainly a positive addition, location-wise, and hopefully build a rivalry. We were in the Northeast Conference with them my first year at Stony Brook and prior to that. So excited about the new teams entering.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of new coaches in this league this year. You got New Hampshire with Coach Mack, retiring, and you got, new coach at Delaware and new coach, in Maine and all that stuff. It's pretty new coaches. You're basically still part of the old guard pretty much.
Yeah, it's interesting. I believe Rob Ambrose is the longest tenure since I've been in the conference, and I think I'm next to one in line. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, talk about your team. What are you looking for in your team this year? Because I know last year you had a tough schedule, and early in the year you had to go out to I think you went out to Air Force and played Air Force in one of those games, or one of those non-conference games or something. What are you looking for this season to get better, getting in for conference play?
Well, we had a real good finish, winning 4 of our last 5 league games. I think when we look at this year's team, we look at very much a veteran team. We have 11, what I would call 6-year COVID guys back, and we have 15 fifth-year seniors. So we have certainly leadership on the top end, and we've relied on that leadership throughout our off-season preparation in winter and spring, and now finishing up our summer preparation. So I'm expecting strong leadership with a lot of experience.
I know this game, September 1st, is going to come real quick when you get to play Rhode Island. I know right now we are getting set for media days and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden it's practice, and then all of a sudden September 1st. So what's the earliest look at of Rhode Island? Because they were pretty good last year. They were 6-0 at one point, and then they got stuck in some of the they got in a little downfall, but they were pretty good for most of the year.
Yeah, I think Rhode Island certainly, with Coach Fleming, has done a very good job building his program back to where it is, and you're articulating correctly. We lost them in overtime up there. They had a good start, and they're a good football team. I think when you're opening your first game, you take a little bit about what that team was last year, but you're really looking and pointed to this year. And I think the best way to approach a first game, specifically with a league game, is take care of your own P's and Q's, manage your own team, have a successful preseason, prepare because you don't know who's going to be lining up necessarily, and go out and play a physical brand of football on game one. We're fortunate enough to be at home, so I think that's an advantage in the first game, and we'll see how it plays out.
Well, talk about your grad students, people who just graduated, they come, they play their final year with you guys. You have a guy from Eastern Michigan, you got some people from California. What are they going to do to put that gel in that to help your team succeed for, this year?
Yeah, well, the first part is the best part of it is they were all here in January, and they've all been with us for 6 months now. They all played spring football, been part of summer workouts. I think each one of them brings a little different type of thing. We obviously took guys that we had needs. We had need for a defensive end, and Eric Black coming from Buffalo is, I think, going to take care of those needs. We had a need to get a couple of other guys at positions, as you articulated. And I think the group of them has been a group that is blended in correctly with our current team. They've come in and they've taken roles of leadership, and excited about the experience from on the field they bring.
Yeah. Well, talk about your university. Now you're part of the CAA. The entire athletic department is part of the CAA now. There's no you're just one part of it. Now that everybody's part of it. What's it like for you now, knowing that you're part of a great conference? You've been there for a while, but now you can tell the other players, the other teams, hey, this is a great conference, like baseball, softball, and everything else.
Yeah, this will be the 10th year as a football program we've been in the CAA. And so, I do welcome, obviously, our entire athletic department. I think that'll continue to elevate our football program. I think now that our identity is completely within the Colonial Athletic Conference, down, Carolina, or up through the Eastern Seaboard and through Maine, I think it will help our notoriety as an entire conference, which helps football, playing in the competitive leagues and basketball, lacrosse, baseball, as you articulated, and in the women's sports. I think it'll just generate interest. I think our alumni are very excited about that, which once again will help towards us being successful as a football program.
Yeah, we'll just talk about it. You guys are out on Long Island. I got to use my Long Island accent because I'm from that area, born and raised in Oceanside, New York. But what's it like, promoting the team in Long Island? Because, people don't realize there's college football on Long Island. A lot of people think, you see Long Island, you think, oh, you got the Jets practicing, used to be over in Hofstra, and now it's, they're in New Jersey. But now they don't realize there's college football right on the island. Yeah,
I think we're probably still a well-known secret out here in Suffolk County. we're 50 or so miles away from New York City, as suburban out here. And but I think there's been a trend of excitement across the board for college football. I do think blending now in the CAA with lacrosse and those type of sports will help us. But, the word's out. I think we get good crowds where we play an exciting brand of football. When you bring in some of the opponents that we bring into the stadium on a yearly basis, it's a great fan experience.
Well, one last question to ask you. What have you been doing all summer long? What do you do during the summer break? Do you go on vacation? Do you do something cool? Do you stay? Because a lot of people don't realize coaches don't stay in the office every day. They go on vacation. You got families. You want to enjoy yourself, and then you come back and it's the grind. What have you been doing for this, just before the start of camp?
Yeah. So our staff breaks the office just on or about July 1st, and we take, those 3 weeks off. And to be honest with you, we try to relax, catch up with family things, catch up with a little bit of rest time and interactions on some things you don't do. We get our doctor's appointments scheduled. We take care of those type of things because when we get back to the office on July 24th, it's 1 week and we're back into preseason football. And, we'll go without a day off straight through Thanksgiving and hopefully a little longer than that.
Yeah. Do you go out on the water and fish, or do you go skiing? Well, what do you do during the summer? Do you do a lot of that stuff, or you just stay home and just enjoy the AC?
You know what? I'm a guy. I like to be outside. I like to go to the beach and do those type of things. So, I do enjoy being outside, and I'm taking on that part of it. I'm not a fisher and I'm not a golfer, so my habits are to stay in shape and working out, getting some runs in, and just getting the fresh air.
That's cool. Well, let me let you go. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and I hope to see you soon, probably on this virtual media day in a couple weeks or something, or maybe down the road.
Appreciate it. Take care now.
All right, Coach. See you.
Take care.
Bye. All right, folks. That's the coach of Stony Brook, Coach Chuck Priore, joining us on the program yesterday. It was supposed to air yesterday, but due to the weather we had yesterday, we didn't do the show. We're going to wrap up the show here because this was supposed to be Gary McDaniel's time, but he is not feeling well, so we wish him the best, and we hope he feels better. I hope to see him next Wednesday. Herbert FM Radio is making a road trip to Charlotte next week. We won't be doing the show next Tuesday because it's the MLB All-Star Game, and we just do not want to go to toe with Pete Alonso and everybody else who's playing the All-Star Game in Los Angeles. Plus, I have to get up early to catch a flight to Charlotte for you guys to get the great coverage of the ACC Atlantic Division Media Day. We're going to get some great interviews from coaches, players. Let's look at the list real quick, folks. I think I want to pull this up. Maybe I can pull it up on my phone here. Let me forward it to myself here. Yeah. So we also want to wish happy birthday to Parker Bone III. It's his birthday today. Also, it's my brother's birthday. So my brother was born on Patrick Picard, Jean-Luc Picard of the Star Trek Enterprise. And what's his name? And what's this? Here it is. Here's the ACC. Let me forward this to you. Forward it to myself. And, we're gonna be down there next week on this time, flying back home at this time. So let me pull this if I can send it to me. Send. I don't know what's going on here. Hello. Hold on. There we go. All right, we're gonna forward it to myself. We got some funny stuff. Next week we'll be live. Next Thursday, we're gonna have a special Thursday edition of the Sports Talk with Chris Heidel, and this gentleman who we were just talking about earlier in the program. He joined us when we talked with Wes Malott and Dave Ryan. This gentleman, Norm Duke, will be joining us from down there in Florida. He hung up his bowling ball this past Sunday. That's one of his great achievements. He won the General Tire PBA Tournament of Champions back in 1994. We're going to talk about his career, what he's going to do next, because he has a lot of people didn't realize how he changed the way the sport is, and what a true sportsman. That's what Dave Ryan said on the program. Let me see if we can pull this up here real quick. Hopefully we'll get some great interviews next week here on the program. Folks, if you're out in Harford County and Baltimore County, make sure everybody's okay. Check with your neighbors. Check with people who have a disability, because we had this big storm yesterday that rolled in here in this area. If you just tuned in, this is what it was like yesterday down in College Park and around the surrounding areas. Massive storms that rolled in here. This is courtesy of the folks at WJZ TV here in Baltimore. Showing the devastation from some of the storms. That house was ripped apart, so it's pretty interesting there. So we're gonna hope they do better. Next week here on the program, I see that's a little more footage of the rain and all that stuff from last week. From Tuesday evening. Wow, a lot of wind. So I hope everybody's okay wherever you are. The attendees next week for. We're going to be down there for the ACC Atlantic Division. This guy we'll try to talk to the guy who has an endorsement deal. Will be DJ. DJ will be there, the quarterback for Clemson. And Clemson's quarterback. And we'll talk to Gary about that because Gary's a good friend of DJ and his father. Jordan Travis will be there from Florida State. Will be joining us. We'll talk to him as well. Yeah, because it's great to talk to him, FSU's quarterback. And then also let's talk to Phil Javarovic, who is the quarterback for Boston College. He's there next Wednesday. We'll see how he's doing. Maybe he had a bad injury, last year for BC. Will be there at the BC kickoff on Wednesday. So Wednesday. So we'll be down there. These usual suspects are going to be there next week on the program. We're going to leave you. We'll get them on the show next, so you can watch their interviews. My one-on-ones with them next Thursday here at 7:00 here on Herbert Radio. Meantime, I'm going to give you a peek. Well, everybody has been really devastated by the storms and all that stuff. I got some cool footage here. First of all, here is the batting stance guy doing an impression of former Met and who just got his jersey retired, Keith Hernandez. So here it is.
Keith Hernandez.
So that's the batting stance guy. And one more for you folks. And this is also for people who are a Yankee fan. The batting stance guy did a impersonation of Derek Jeter. This is a clip from the David Letterman show. Thanks for the folks of the Worldwide Pants, who put this on YouTube. So here it is.
Mentioned Derek Jeter. Let's see Derek Jeter.
All right, so Derek Jeter is incredibly cool, and he still calls for time, but not with his fingers, with his wrist each time. So he'll go. And then when he takes a pitch, he'll take it all the way in like this. He'll go back out and
takes it all the way in.
And then Paul Schaefer's never in danger when Jeter actually bats, but when he finishes a swing, he'll usually do this. Throw it right at your...
That's the batting stance guy making fun of Derek Jeter. So, folks,
mentioned Derek Jeter.
The Rome bottom there. We already played him. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for Dave Ryan and Wes Malott and Dan Tortora from Wake Up DT. If you want to watch him, he's on YouTube every morning. Also for Danielle, who's Danielle, who are a good friend from down there in Tallahassee. Danielle Kelley joining us. Also, thanks to Coach Smith, from Duquesne for joining us, and also our interview we had with LaMonte Wade. So we'll see you guys next Thursday night. We'll be live at 8:00 with Norm Duke, but we'll be live at next Thursday night. Next Thursday night at 7. Sports Talk with Chris Heidel. Talk with Chris Heidel next week, right here on the program. So now until then, I'm Chris Heidel. We're going to leave you with some boogie. Yes, we're going to get you. This goes out to Suzanne and Charlie Hubler. Let's do the hustle. Good night, everybody.